Awesome. So this is my first official live video. I just wanted to try it. So here I am. And I don't really know. I am very excited about my 100 subscribers. That was totally cool. And I am super excited about my book coming out and being available to the public. That was also very awesome. And yeah, so today we're going to write because I need to get back on track as far as my writing is concerned. So yeah, I'm just opening up all my good stuff. And I am going to be using it is called the Productivity Challenge app to keep myself on track, because I think that's one of the things that I really suffer with is staying on track for projects. And when you're writing and you want to make it your career to be a writer, you really need to stay on track and focused. I'm like, do I want to start? I think I'm going to start a new project just because the old project that I was working on, well, it's my old new project. It's got me stumped. I have been trying to figure out, so I'm in chapter 1, and I am on the opening scene of chapter 1, and I decided that the opening scene was going to be my protagonist is climbing out of bed. It's first thing in the morning, and she's reflecting on her partner. And so she has to get out of bed, and I am stumped on just trying to get her out of bed without waking up her significant other, because that's kind of rude. You know, you don't want to wake people up early in the morning. And it's all mechanics. I'm struggling with the mechanics of getting this woman out of bed, which is kind of ridiculous, but okay. Oh, hi, Sky. How are you? I needed some inspiration to get back on track. So that's what I'm doing today, while trying to figure out how to get my main character out of bed. No. So this new project I'm working on is actually a project that was inspired by my cousin. A couple of years ago, she was telling me this story about a movie that she likes, or maybe it was a book. And so I thought that would be a really neat story to write. Barely awake. Yeah, me too. I got up at 6 this morning and took the girl child to school. She's got a band thing that they're working on today. So she went to a different school. And yeah, so now I'm just kind of like, I'm so tired that I want to take a nap, but then I'm like, no, if I take a nap, I won't get anything done. And yes, I have used it with other streams, but I haven't like used it for myself. But I like, based on how it works within the live stream, I really like it, and I'm hoping it keeps Alina on track. So I'm hoping that it'll do the same for me. Have you used it before? Yeah, I would give it a try, because it's a free app, and if it will help keep you on track, that's where I struggle the most, is staying on track. All right. And this is what it looks like. I don't know if you can. Yeah, this shows up pretty well. It looks like this. And then you just tap, and then I guess what it does is it shames you, it guilt shames you into staying on track. And who doesn't need a good shaming, right? So yeah. So I think the first one is set for 10 minutes. So we'll go ahead and get it started, and we will try it. Yeah, that's what, once I get it started, I usually can stay on track because I want to keep writing forever. But it's getting started. It's stopping all of the like chores essentially, and saying, okay, no, these can wait. I need to sit down and do some writing, which is probably why my The Awakening took me 2 years to write and edit, because I kept saying, okay, that can wait. And yeah, but now I'm like, okay, no, this can't wait. It has to be done, because yeah, I have to put me first. That's what I struggle with. And now that my kids are growing up and moving out and graduating high school and stuff, I'm like, hey, I can actually put me first. So are you working full-time now, or are you at home full-time now? I'm actually setting up my diffuser, so I'm gonna move around quite a bit for a second. because so I have been a stay-at-home mom for 17 years, and I've worked on and off throughout that time, and I still struggle with chores, and because I want to get everything done and then put me in oh, well, it's still new. It's still new. You haven't failed. You just are still trying to adapt. It's completely different. I wish that more people had the experience of staying at home, because it's not like we stay at home and watch television all day. We have to balance. It's not just a work schedule we're balancing anymore. It's now multiple schedules, plus getting everything we need to get done within those multiple schedules and making time for ourselves. Yeah, that's what I have been blessed. I've been blessed to be able to stay at home full time with my kids. Sometimes I get frustrated and I'm like, I'll just go back to work. But then I sit down and I think about it and I'm like, well, if I went back to work, who's going to do all the stuff? Oh yeah. Well, is your husband really good at is he good at organization and stuff? Because that's if you can come up with like a schedule and a routine, that's how I honestly I think that having and my son is autistic, and I think that having an autistic child requires you to have a schedule actually helps you to be more structured. And so that's what helped me, because when he was first born, I was all over the place. I didn't even know where. Oh yeah, you'll make it. You'll figure it out. You'll get into a routine and you'll figure it out. That's basically the hardest part, is getting into your own routine. He told me his routine. I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, especially if your kids are already used to his routine, I mean, as long as it works for you, yeah, I would totally just keep doing what he's doing, but make some tweaks so that it's, it fits your schedule. Because he probably wasn't trying to fit writing in live streams and YouTube videos. But I don't know. I do. I think that just finding your own groove and making it work for you is going to be the best. Because I know, like, my husband and I are so different when it comes to like organization and putting things into priority. I mean, if he was like head in charge, if he was running the show, I think that the house would definitely be more organized and we would definitely have less stuff. But we probably wouldn't, I definitely probably wouldn't have much time to do like videos and writing and stuff like that. Yeah, it is. It is. And once you find it, then you'll see that you're more productive. And one of the things that I do, I write everything down. So like my calendar has everything I want to achieve on it. So every day I have on there 1,500 words. I have the days written down that I want to live stream, that I want to do videos. And then once I have all that stuff down, then I add the kids stuff because they do 4-H on Mondays. And then my daughter has piano and we have other obligations throughout the week. And so I write all that down, and having that visual, looking at the calendar and saying, okay, this is what needs to get done, helps me to keep my sanity, because every day I know, okay, this is what I have to do. And then this are the times that I can fit in something good for me. So I would just write everything down. Okay, so I'm testing this app while we are chatting, and I'm going to see if it actually works, if I set the timer up properly. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So yeah, I wish. So with my calendar, I just use the calendar that came with my phone, and I color code. I don't know if you can see my screen or not. Oh wait, there it is. I color code everything. So red is all my YouTube stuff. That's Friday Nights with Sarah. And so I have all these colors. But what I love about this calendar is you can color coordinate everything. But then, like, my husband was always saying, he's like, I never know what you're doing. And so I finally figured out how to add him. So I basically email him everything, and then it gets added onto his calendar. And so that way, if he wants to plan something, he can look at the calendar and say, oh, okay, well, Dana's already taken up the entire day for herself, so I'm free. So, but yeah, that is actually a good, oh, there it is. It worked. Now I just have to go back to it and turn it on. So that's an excellent idea. Definitely try that out and see how it works. But I think that communication is key as well. Like, if your children are still pretty young, so you don't really have to include them in the daily schedule. You don't have to tell them every single thing that you're doing. But as far as like having a schedule and communicating that schedule with your husband, having a digital calendar is essential. When do you write? Like, I know you're still in your schedule making and finding a routine and everything, but when is like, cool. This is so awesome. So it actually just asked me, the challenge app just asked me if I wanted to take a break or if I wanted to skip the break. And so I went ahead and I took a 5-minute break. So yeah, if you don't already have this app, I would suggest downloading it because it is pretty cool. But yeah, so are you more of a nighttime writer or a daytime writer? Oh, you and Google have a mutual hatred for each other. Yeah. Yeah. I think, like most calendars, you should be able to like email it to him, and he should be able to add it to his account or add it to his calendar. But see, my kids all have Macs. And they have a way, I would have to ask them, but they actually have a way of adding events to each other's digital camera or digital calendars. So I don't know if you're using like iPhone or if you're using your Mac for your calendar. But I will ask them because I don't know. I used to use Mac, and then I got a Mac notebook when I was in my second year of college. I was going to nursing school, and I got a Mac notebook, and my daughter was actually watching a movie on this laptop, and she started screaming, and I couldn't figure out why. So I got the laptop from her, and it had actually overheated so badly that it left it like blisters on her skin. And when I took it in to have them fix it, they said that the warranty was already expired and it was going to end up costing me like $300 to have it fixed. And I was like, you know what? I still have it because I have pictures and write like some stories that I had written in college. I still have on it. So I don't want to lose the hard drive, but I think I also still have it as a reminder. Be thankful for the having a variety to choose from. Yeah, I'll totally ask they have the all-in-one. My daughter has well, they both have iPhones, but they also have the all-in-one desktops. So I'll ask my daughter when she gets home how she uses the calendar, because she is wicked smart as far as like her Mac computers, and she's got the all-in-one desktop, she's got some crazy iPhone, and she's got an I want to say a notebook. So I'll have to ask her. I think it's a notebook. I don't know. She knows. It's great having kids who are wicked smart and much more technologically inclined. Oh, and I've been seeing a lot of videos where they're talking about like writing rituals, and I thought that was really cool. And I considered making a writing rituals video. Have you seen any of those? I do. I love my Samsung. I do. It's user friendly. My daughter keeps telling me how superior her iPhone is to my Samsung. And yesterday she was angry with her iPhone because it's having a problem where she's trying to download a free app, and it keeps telling her that she can't download the free app because her billing information is incorrect. So she went in, she did the whole billing information over again. We walked through it. She put her debit card in, and at the end, it's still saying she can't do this. And I was like, well, I really don't know very much about iPhones. And I told her, I said, if you had a Samsung, I would know how to help you with this. And she's like, well, iPhones are far more superior. And I'm like, apparently not, because I don't have those kinds of problems with my Samsung. And you are sitting here crying because your phone won't work for you. But as far as those all-in-one computers are concerned, I love them. So we bought Elijah's. He's 3 years in high school, 6 years. I want to say we bought Elijah's all-in-one 7 years ago, and it's still working. It's still working. We had one issue when I want to say we downloaded snow leopard, or some exotic animal program onto it, and it messed everything up. But we were able to use this like stopwatch feature, and it reset everything to right before he updated his program. And that was the only problem we've ever had with it. And my daughter's all-in-one got knocked off of her desk, and the top corner got a little bit cracked, but it still works. Like, there is nothing wrong with it. So I'm very surprised at that. I guess I shouldn't be, because Mac prides itself on having superior quality. But yeah, if you can get your hands on an all-in-one, I would definitely recommend it. And I do. I rub it in. Like, people are all the time are like, oh, you are so hard on your kids and this, that, and the other thing. And I don't think I'm hard on my kids. I just tell it as it is, because that's how it is. I mean, they all know that I love them. My 19-year-old, he moved out for, I want to say, 2 years. And then when he started college, he was like, can I come back and live with you guys? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So now I tell people, hey, if I'm such a terrible parent, why are they coming back? But I do. I don't sugarcoat things for my kids. I cringe at the thought of my children not being able to take criticism, especially as they are getting to the point where they're starting to enter the workplace. Because when you're working, you have to be able to take criticism, and you have to be able to handle people's opinions without breaking down and crying. And my boys get it. My daughter's a little bit more sensitive, though, so I have to be very careful about how I approach things. But if she opens the door, I will walk through it. So yeah. But I guess maybe I'm trying to find that perfect blend of old school parenting meets like new parenting, because my mom never had to worry about who I was talking to on the internet or through. Now my daughter and my 17-year-old have the Xboxes. And one night my husband woke up and my daughter was laughing, and she was playing what's this popular game? Not Minecraft, but like, I don't even know what it's called. That's how much I care. Anyway, so yes, Fortnite. Well, that's how much I care. But so she was up. It was like 3:00 in the morning, and she was playing Fortnite, and she was talking to a male on the other end of the Xbox game. And my husband woke me up, and he's like, hey, she's in there talking to somebody. And he respects her privacy, so he won't just walk into her room. So he got me up. I went in there, and I was like, well, who are you talking to? Because so if I go in, she knows that she has to take her headset off, and I have to be able to hear the voice on the other end of the line. And so she told me the name of her friend that she was playing with. I had never heard her talk about this friend before. And so the next Monday when we went to school, she actually had to show me who this person was. And I remember when I was in 7th grade, if I was up at 3:00 in the morning, I would have been in the biggest trouble of my life. So I don't know. It's insane. Yeah. And especially when you have daughters. Like my sons were so easy. But my daughter, she keeps life interesting, to say the least. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I try to be understanding. So I am an insomniac, and I passed that on, unfortunately, to my son, and I'm worrying that my daughter is starting to become an insomniac. I think that I know she's always had sleeping issues where she becomes more like more alert and more productive at night, but in order to, she has to go to school, so she has to be able to sleep at night. So I try not to be too hard on them, but when she's laughing and giggling and now she's talking to someone who I've never met and she's like, no, he's my best friend at school. I'm like, yeah, girl, you got a lot of best friends. So yeah, little girls are a very interesting species, that's for sure. And what I had a friend of mine tell me, and she's a licensed therapist, and so I was talking to her about my frustrations, and she told me that female adolescence mimics psychosis, but it's temporary. So she's like, be patient because this will pass and hopefully you'll both survive it. And I'm just like, oh. So every time I get frustrated with her or she's up at 3:00 in the morning playing with her friend, I'm like, yeah, this too will pass. All right. So what are you still, I've been wanting to ask you, I know you're working on a book. What is your book about? Like, what do you have? Where are you? I guess, where are you in like your writing process? Is it going to be out soon? Yeah, I have. So I actually have a blended family. Um, no, I'm not ready to get back to work. Hold on just a second. So I have a blended family. I have a 22-year-old son. For some reason, I want to say he's 23, but I want to shoot. I was 17 when he was born. 2019 minus. He is 23. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so he's 23 years old, but I inherited him when I married my husband. And then I adopted my cousin. And then I have my Elijah, who's 17. He's my only biological son. But I have 3 sons. And then Minnie Monster, because I'm not allowed to use her real name on YouTube. She's asked me not to do that, so I have to respect it. She is 13 years old. And the thing with little girls is when I was struggling to have her, I kept talking to people about how wonderful it would be to have a little girl and how we'd be able to do girl stuff together. Because my son was very much mud puddles and adventures in the woods. And that's very much how I am, but I wanted something different. No one ever told me that little girls would challenge you. Yeah, so now I always joke around with people when they're like, oh, I want a little girl so bad. I'm like, be careful. Be careful for what you wish for. And after having 3 sons, and they all went, I experienced adolescence with all 3 of them. It is so different. Little girl adolescence versus boy adolescence is so different. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so 2 of 3. Okay. You know what? I've heard a lot of people say, well, not a lot, but quite a bit of people say doing the rapid release. And I think if I had put more thought into it, maybe I would have had book 2 a little bit closer to being ready when I released book 1. That's a good idea, though. Oh, right on. Yeah. So that's a really neat idea. I think so. Do the vampires in your world do they live amongst humans, or do they is it like a mutual civilized relationship, or are they like still eating humans? Kind of like the True Blood, how they actually were part of society. Oh, and so when I had wanted to start a YouTube channel for a couple of years now, and the girls, because I have a niece, so my niece and my daughter are exactly 3 months apart, and my niece, when she's on camera, she's Little Monster, and she is all for YouTube. Anytime I'm like, hey, do you want to make a YouTube video with me? She's like, yes. And so I let the girls pick their names. And my husband always said that my daughter's a mini me. And so I started calling her Mini Monster because she can be she can be a handful. And then my niece was like, well, if she's Little Monster, then I'll be, or if she's Mini Monster, I'll be Little Monster. So that's how they got their little nicknames. And yeah. And then my 17-year-old, he was calling himself Baba Yaga for a little while. And now he's just like, no, I'm just Elijah, because he likes his name. It's a cool name. Right on. That is really cool. That is really cool. I will definitely be reading your books once they're ready. Do you have like a time? Oh, right on. That is totally awesome. Yeah, I love the name Elijah. And so when he was little, people tried to give him a nickname. They tried calling him Eli, and he was so funny. He would tell people. So Elijah didn't speak until he was 4 years old. And so it was funny the first time he looked at someone and was like, so he introduced himself and he was like, my name's Elijah. This is who I am. And they turned around and they were like, oh, Eli, that's a great name. And he looked at them with as serious as he could possibly be. And he was like, that's not my name. My name is Elijah. And they're like, yeah, but it's a cute nickname. Eli is a nickname for Elijah. And he was like, no, that's not my name. and he was just so serious about it. So, oh man, that is so funny. If I were writing on time, March, yeah. This book that I'm actually working on 3 books right now. I'm working on the second book to the Awakening series. And then I'm working on one called Deception of My Mind, which at this point in time, I'm stuck because Deception of My Mind is about a woman who has multiple personality disorder, but they have a new name for it, and I always forget what it is. And so she is the opening scene. I was playing. Hi, Uncle Yukon. How are you? Good morning. Yes, and he is Elijah he was named after the prophet, and he is very much, this is my name. And he's such a blessing to me. I love him. So, but, so I thought it would be fun because I had been struggling a lot of times in books, especially like romance books and stuff. I've noticed that it's a trend that people, they stand in front of a mirror and they describe themselves so that the reader knows what it is. And I was getting frustrated with that because I don't want to do that. I want to stand out. And so, into the snow. Oh, well, be careful in the snow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. We got some snow. So I live in southern Arizona and our mountains are covered in snow right now. And it rained and snowed last night. And so we're supposed to have like a day of no rain and snow. And then we're supposed to get this massive storm this weekend. And they're saying that we might get a foot of snow on the mountains, which means in the valley where I live, it'll be a lot of rain. And then the temperatures are supposed to dip. So it's supposed to be ice, and yeah, it's going to be crazy. So my main character is getting out of bed, and I thought it would be neat for her not to like describe herself, because I've noticed a lot of times the antagonist is like, oh, I look like this and whatever. So I was thinking that she would actually be the one to kind of describe her partner. So I thought, okay, well, maybe she could reflect on how important he is to her and how much she loves him, because sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you look at your spouse and you're just kind of like, sometimes you're like, wow, I'm married to that. And sometimes you're like, oh, married to that. No. But so I thought it would be fun for her to talk about him in kind of a loving manner. But I'm struggling because like every time I think about her so she has to get out of bed, and then she has to not wake him up, and then she has to describe him in this loving manner. And it's just, I don't know, I'm just stuck. And I don't know if I'm overthinking the mechanics of the scene, or if maybe it's just a bad scene and I should just scrap it. I got a truck out yesterday. I got the truck out, yeah. But it was rough getting down the driveway. It took 4 or 5 times. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Yeah. That is insane. I was just reading Uncle Yukon's adventures in the driveway. Okay, so I lived in upstate New York and for 2 years, and I was very good about keeping my driveway clear and as free of ice as I possibly could. And here's a funny story. So my neighbors told me to salt. We were getting ready to have this massive nor'easter, and my neighbors told me to salt my steps because I had these concrete steps that came up to the front door. And so I went and got salt, and I'm like shaking salt all over my concrete steps. And my neighbor comes over and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I told her, I was like, "Well, you told me to salt the steps." Well, she brings over this massive, like 10-pound bag of rock salt. And I looked at her and I was like, "Oh, you meant like margarita salt." Oh man, it was an adventure to say the least. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. That is insane. Well, hopefully, all of this snow that people have been getting will um, help with some of the droughts that people have been experiencing. I certainly am looking forward to warmer temperatures because once our snow starts to melt, it actually feeds into lakes, and our lake basically died. Yeah. Yeah, yes, guys. So when the rest of the when the rest of the country is salting their steps, I'm sitting here using it for margarita salts. Oh man. Yeah. I do like the snow. I like the snow. There was something magical about like the first time you experience a blizzard like a nor'easter, and especially the area that I was in, there's this silence and it's almost surreal, and you can actually hear things that you typically tone out. Like I was just amazed that you could literally hear like the sounds ice make. Um, because ice does, it has its own sound, and when it's freezing it has this almost like high pitch squeal to it, and um hearing like squirrels and stuff run across the snow, you never really get to experience that, and so it was magical. And then we we had this deck, and it was so funny because the dryer, so the vent for the dryer was underneath this deck, and so whenever I was drying clothes it would start to melt and it would drip onto this like concrete slab underneath the deck. And so I went out one day and there was literally like a pillar of ice growing underneath my deck, and it had gotten to be about 3 feet tall, and it was the craziest thing. I mean, it was just so cool, and I got pictures of it somewhere. But yeah, I think every person needs to experience at least one blizzard in their life, um, just because you'll never really appreciate like the silence after a good snowstorm until you're there. I know, I'm like, I have been chatting it up. We haven't gotten any writing done. Unless, are you writing while we chat, Sky? All right. I had a When I breed my Alaskan Malamutes, and I always stay in contact with my my Malamutes when they go to their forever homes. I stay in contact with them, and I've got a beautiful friend in Florida who actually has two of my Malamutes, and so she was just texting me, and I love it. She's got the from my last litter. I have videos on my channel from my last litter, and there's one called Loki that I followed around and made some videos of, and he is, let's see, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, 7 months old, and he's almost 90 pounds. So yeah, he is amazing. Yeah. Oh, that is so awesome. That's what I've got a couple of Malamutes that they are on sled teams. I've got two that are training in like northern Colorado, and I've got one that's training here. And how they train them here is really cool. They hook them up to these like ATVs, and they put it in neutral, and then they string lights between the dogs, because you can't run Malamutes or Huskies during the day. So everything has to be done at night. And it's so neat. I've been out to watch them pull, and it's so neat because you're out in the middle of the desert. It's pitch black, and then all of a sudden you hear these dogs and they're barking, and you can see the lights strung like between the dogs and on the ATV. And it reminds me so much of like Santa's sleigh. You know, how magical would that be if Santa had like all these lights strung between his reindeers and stuff? So yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The you can actually hear um the snow falling. And most people wouldn't know that. I mean, most people don't, they have no clue that falling snow actually has its own unique sound. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you can get into a nice blizzard and be safe at the same time, it's definitely worth the adventure. Yeah. Well, sometimes when I'm live streaming with Sarah, I catch up on like my correspondence. Because I like to, I've been trying to get into the habit of writing letters, like handwritten letters. And so sometimes when I'm streaming with Sarah, I'll catch up on my note cards or handwritten letters and stuff. Because yeah, I mean, we write all the time, but sometimes we get so overwhelmed writing our stories that we neglect our personal writings, and those are important as well. Thank you, Uncle Yukon. Have a good day. Safe travels to the store. And thank you for the good luck on my book. It's been fun. Yeah, Alaskan Malamutes are cool. Like I got my first Alaskan Malamute when I was 14 or 15. He was actually found at the dump. Someone had dumped him here in Arizona, and he had been there for a couple of days eating garbage. And the workers at the dump thought that he was a wolf, and so they were a little bit afraid of him. And so we put him in the back of our truck and took him home. And he was the greatest dog ever. And ever since then, we've had Malamutes along with other breeds. And oh, I know. Monroe is such a sweet girl. I love her. I'm so glad that Bonnie didn't change her mind as far as Monroe, because that's very typical. What Tonka was doing with Monroe was very typical of the Malamute, pack mentality. So, and now they love each other. And oh, they love each other. Tonka just loves her to bits and pieces. So I do. Definitely. So 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 my time. Yeah, I do. I get their little notifications. I loved that Valentine's photo shoot that Bonnie did with them. They're just, I hope that she breeds. I would love to see her breed Tonka with Monroe. I know it would kind of break the AKC rules and everything, but I think their puppies would just be gorgeous. I really do. So I had 11 dog team. Oh wow, that's a good team. Yeah. Well, eventually I know that I'm gonna have to, as I get older, which please don't happen anytime soon. I will definitely probably get down to one Malamute, just because they are a lot of work. And when you have 5 of them, that's a lot of work. 11 of them is a ton of work. So yeah, I can totally understand. But I don't think I'd ever want like just one Malamute because they're so at least for mine, they're so they need a pack. They need a companion. It doesn't have to be another Malamute, but I think people who only have one, if you don't have a lot of time to invest, those are the stories you hear about them eating drywall and stuff because they definitely need yeah, yep, 2 is perfect because they need someone that they can play with. Malamutes play hard. And if you have a dog that can't play hard, you can get into a little bit of trouble. Oh, what do you? Oh, he has a team of Malamutes. I just saw that Santa no longer has reindeer. He has a team of Malamutes. Yeah, he needs them. Oh, man. I didn't see how Tonka reacted to Woo. I think that is when I first started watching Bonnie's channel. Was when Woo came in to the picture. Because she had that's because I was a little bit confused. I thought she was trying to breed Tonka with Woo. And so yeah, I think that's where I first came in. But then it wasn't that. They were talking about how Woo, I think Woo came from a breeder. And so that's where I got confused. But he does. I mean, he's very good with Woo. And I loved that diaper that Bonnie put on Monroe when she went into heat. I thought that was so cute. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Australian Shepherds are really awesome dogs. I'm not really familiar with too many breeds, like the Finnish Spitz, I'm not really familiar with. And Huskies. I'm on the fence with Huskies because you can, I love Arctic breeds, but Huskies can kind of be temperamental sometimes. So you got to be really, you have to be dedicated to have a Husky. And Bonnie is definitely very dedicated. She is on the ball with her Arctic dogs. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of puppy mills. I always say be leery of anyone who has multiple breeds because I have 2 breeder females and that is a ton of work. So if I were to have more than 2 females and multiple breeds, that's when I start to get a little bit, I question what's going on in those type of breeding situations. Yeah, no chains. I like that. No chains, no separations. Yeah, because it's with these, I think especially with Malamutes and the Arctic breed dogs, you can't really, if you separate, if you try to restrain them too much, that's when you start to get a little bit like undesirable attitudes. So we have divided our yard into 2 yards. And so basically we half of our house belongs to one female and the other half of our house belongs to the other female. And one female, Denali, she is a little bit she's less social. Tala is a true alpha. She has a pack, and when she isn't with her pack, she gets into this really bad depression. And Denali is more she's very independent and she prefers the company of humans over other dogs. And so her mate is Baby Bear, and he is the only, like, he's really the only dog that she wants to be around, which is interesting. It's definitely interesting seeing how they're both 100% Alaskan Malamutes, but they have totally different personalities. So it is really cool. And we do have a kennel on the property, and it's Tala's Den. And I got it for her when she was a puppy because she ate our couch. And so I put her in there. If like I had to leave to go to the store or whatever, I would put her in this kennel and she would howl and howl and howl. And so I took the door off of it, and now that's where she goes. If she's done being around her puppies, or if she just needs a place to have a little time out, she goes in there. And it's neat because the other dogs, the other Malamutes, know if she's in there, you need to leave her alone. So, and they're den animals, so it really helps them out a lot. Yeah, that's really cool that Yukon kept the peace. Yeah, I think it's really neat. It's really neat. I wish I had more time to like document the lives of my Alaskan Malamutes and they um, how they are pack animals, and how you get a good strong alpha female and a good strong male. Like our male Adonis, he gets on the puppies, and all of a sudden you see Tala and her Omega, and they come over and they're like, I don't think so, Big Daddy. And it's vice versa too. When Tala is like, hey, I'm done, then Adonis and Holly will come in and they'll distract the puppies and play with them and stuff. It's a really neat it's a neat structure, and we didn't have to teach them this. Mother Nature gave them these instincts, and when taken care of, there's no fighting because everybody has plenty of food, plenty of water. And so when they're well taken care of, they learn to take care of each other, and it's so cool. It is absolutely so cool. Yeah. Yeah. A benevolent king is a good king. He's just, and he makes sure that everybody's taken care of. So you're right. You're right. Yeah. Tala's really good about keeping the peace with the females. When we had a problem, we had a problematic female who now lives with our friends across the street. But she wasn't really problematic, but she refused to get in line and follow the rules of the pack. And so it ended up causing a problem. And so to make sure that nobody got hurt, we rehomed her to our friends. But they live right across the street, so we see her every day. And she's much happier now because she gets to be the queen of her yard, and she is definitely the queen of her yard. Yeah. Oh, it's funny. Like Tala, she was in heat, and I didn't want her to breed. And I kept telling her no. She would get out into the yard. She had a hot spot on her face, and she had been given some very powerful antibiotics and some steroids. And so I didn't want to risk the puppies being affected by the antibiotic. And so I was like, no, you can't breed this time. And I was really surprised that I would let her out and I would be out there with her, and she would sit every time Adonis would come over and try to be sweet on her. She would sit, and then she would come in the house. And so that was really cool. It was really neat because I'd never seen a female act like that before. Usually when they're in heat, they're like, let's do this. Excuse me. Yeah. I think that, unfortunately, my opinion on like AKC is not, I don't have any problems with them. None whatsoever. I worry that instead of having these powerful, beautiful, majestic animals that Malamutes traditionally are, I'm concerned that AKC is making them more into pretty dogs. And unfortunately, in my experience, every AKC Malamute that I've come across has been missing some of the traditional characteristics that Malamutes were bred for, because they've become these more pretty, fluffy. They're prettier, they're fluffier, and sometimes I think they're dumber. And because I think the general consensus is when you have a Malamute, the majority of the population want these big old fluffy teddy bear snuggle bums. And yeah, that's a great aspect of the Malamutes, but I still love the traditional muscular, powerful, highly intelligent work dogs. And so I really hope that that the AKC world doesn't breed that out of the Malamutes. But unfortunately, the majority of the AKC Malamutes that I've come into contact with don't have those awesome traits anymore. Right on. Yes. Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. They really have. And it's a disservice to the animal when you breed them into stupid animals. Yeah. Yes. I agree with you, Sky. I think that when, unfortunately, we've become a society of cute, fluffy, put them in your purse, put the clothes on them, and all this other great stuff. And that's not, I think that's why yeah, I've tried other breeds and I'm just like, if my dog needs its own wardrobe, then I'm going to have a problem. Now, I make yarn out of Malamute wool. So not only do I have intelligent dogs who can pull me out of a fire if I needed them to, but I can also wear their fur. So when climate change happens and Arizona becomes the new Alaska, I'm going to be set. I'm going to be so warm. All right, Uncle Yukon, I will see you later. Have a good day. He is so cool. I met him through Bonnie's channel. It's called Tonka. Tonka. Is it? Oh, I wish I could remember. It's it's Tonka the Malamute, aka Waterwolf, I think it is. And Bonnie is so good with her Malamutes, and I just love them. And she is so cute. And Tonka actually gets mail and he opens it himself, which is cool. And so he opens the boxes, and once he can get the stuff inside, he's done. He doesn't try to eat the box. So they're very smart. And then she's got a Siberian Husky. I believe she's a Siberian Husky. And she's all white. and she has these gorgeous blue eyes, and they're so blue. They remind me of my daughter's eyes, and she's a ham. I mean, she gets up on the counter. She's very, she's beautiful. Oh yeah, go over there. She does lives on a regular basis. Like I want to almost every day I think she does a live, and I will let me see. I want to make sure I send you to the right channel, cuz you will. You're just going to fall in love with her. And they go on adventures, and I mean they just do all kinds of stuff. Bonnie is absolutely top notch when it comes to her Malamute and her Huskies. I'm like, where is she? Let me see. Tonka. Yeah. And he looks like this. It's the Adventures of Tonka the Malamute, aka Water Wolf. Can you see that? Okay, there it is. And she is awesome. And Tonka, yes, Tonka is beautiful, and he's got the greatest personality ever. And so I would really love to see, because she said, Bonnie had said that she wanted to breed Monroe when she was about 3. So it'll probably be 2.5 years before she considers breeding her. But I think that a Muskie would be an awesome combination. And Monroe is so gorgeous. I mean, she is just beautiful. And she's got this long, gorgeous coat. And so I think that her and Tonka would make beautiful babies. And what's neat about the combination between Malamutes and Huskies is Malamutes are designed to pull heavy weight for great distances. So they do not run fast, and they can pull weights for long periods of time, but then it takes them long periods of time to rejuvenate. So if you run a Malamute for like with mine, if I run them for about an hour, just hard running, playing, they'll sleep. They'll get home, eat, drink, and then they will easily sleep for 3 or 4 hours just to get their energy back. And so Huskies are sprinters, and they can run up to like 13 miles a day and still be like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And so I think a combination between the two would just be fantastic, except you might get this like very large sprinting dog. So, and their coats, oh man, that would be so cool, because the Huskies are a little bit more like silkier. They don't typically have like the real long top coat. Whereas Malamutes are nice and woolly, so they could get that real soft wool. That would be cool. I'm like, now I need to get a Husky. No, I'm kidding. No Huskies for me. So awesome. Well, so did you want, oh, my husband's staring at me on the other side of the window. I have a window, and my truck's parked outside the window. So typically no one can walk in front of it, but occasionally he likes to try to startle me. So yeah. So do you want to write? Are you still on board for writing, for trying out this tracker, productivity tracker? Look, it's telling me that I'm an unrepented slacker. Aren't you? And then right here, it's like, aren't you supposed to be working? Oh my gosh. Yes, definitely. Definitely download this tracker app. Honestly, I was thinking about I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So I was thinking about doing a live stream on Tuesdays, and possibly on Thursdays, because I do want to be able, I really need to get more focused. So I'm definitely going to do Tuesdays because I think Tuesday mornings are pretty open as far as live streams are concerned. All right. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and try it out because I certainly don't want to be an unrepented slacker, even though I totally am. So, okay. So I believe that it's a 10-minute work session. Let me change it to, let me see what we're doing. Settings. Yeah. So I have the 10-minute work sessions. Do you want to do a 15-minute? Oh, awesome. You already regret it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I had wanted to do videos for Mondays and Wednesdays. And then I thought that if I did live streams are a little bit easier than actually sitting down, doing a video, editing the video and getting it loaded. But I mean, you could totally do you not like the time or the Monday through Friday? Okay, 15 minutes. All right, so I will get this started. Just doing them for the rest of February. Yeah, yeah. But once you make it part of your routine, you're gonna, the days that you don't do it, you're gonna be like, I need to do this. You're not lazy. That does sound like a pain in the neck. So that's why you need to move your desk. You need to move your desk into like a space where it's just you. You tell everybody this is my space. That's what I ended up doing. So we built a room for my son, for my 23-year-old son. And when he moved out, I took over and I was like, this is my workspace. I share it with my son. So my desk is here, then my son's desk is next to me, and then we have the rabbits behind us. And Denali comes in and out as she pleases. But until I said, this is my space and I need to be able to work here and be left alone here, I was working at the kitchen table. I was working in the living room. I was working in my bed. And it was amazing the difference and the productivity I was able to achieve once I said, this is my space and I need to work and you need to deal with your own selves. You know what I'm saying? So you might have to stake a claim and say, hey, when I'm sitting here, don't mess with me. So, okay. All right. So I will set the timer. It's for 15 minutes. I guess maybe I should put in here that we're going to start a 15-minute sprint. So if anybody does comment, they won't think I'm ignoring them. And then I can't spell. All right. Lucky. Yeah. Oh, I totally get that. That's where I started. I started writing when I started writing 2 years ago. I was writing in the middle of the night at the kitchen table, and then I upgraded and took over. So, all right, cool. So let's start this 15-minute. Oh, okay. I'm like, what did I do? All right. So we will go ahead and get started. Tap here to begin. Unrepented slackers, we are not. All right. So I will see you in 15 minutes. All right. So that was 15 minutes. Oh, actually, we have 1 minute left, but that's a very pleasant chime. Were you able to hear it? Elena's gets angry, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah, I think hers is a little bit more of like an aggressive one, which I think you can. Um, all right, so we'll take a break. What is this? You can code too. Oh, I think because I didn't pay for it, it's sending me like advertisements. But I think they have like different in the settings, you can put different alarm sounds. But I can't do the obnoxious ones. They get me riled up. So yeah, so I started this new story, and I think it's going to probably be done before my other new work in progress because now I'm on a roll. Now that I'm like sitting down and writing it, I'm like, this is totally cool. So, but that's kind of one of the things that I struggle with is I start a new project. So I'm working on my second book for my series. And when I get stumped with that, I'm work on one of my smaller projects. Um, and when I get stumped with that, I'll go back, so I'm constantly moving back and forth. And I'm thankful that I have like a plethora of notebooks to keep me more organized. Otherwise I would be putting the wrong characters into the wrong stories. So is your book series targeted for younger audience, or are you writing it for like adult audiences? Okay. Oh, right on. That's awesome. That'll be good because then you have um, a further reach, whereas like me and Aphrodite are pretty limited. So, or I guess she's Minx on her adult book. So, I've thought about writing for like young adult. And my daughter thinks I should write a children's story, like a children's book, but I don't know if that's possible. All right. It says that we have 1 minute, 30 seconds until we start working again. Are you down for another 15 minutes, or do you got to run? Awesome. Yeah, I think you should. If you can find an illustrator, run with it because children's books are very popular. I think awesome. I do that. I do a lot of handwriting when, especially if we're out hiking. I always have a notebook with me because I get out into the woods and it's like magic. All of a sudden, all these ideas start coming. And I wrote 2 chapters sitting on a cliff one day. It was pretty cool. All right, so in 15 seconds, we'll start our next round, and hopefully, I will not be the unrepentant slacker. All right. I just got the notification that you're going to be live in 30 minutes. Okay, so I forgot to start the timer. I guess that's the one bad thing. If you don't start the timer, you sit here and work and you don't get credit for it. So, but yeah, I have got to go. I got to make a few phone calls and I got to find out. Oh, maybe I didn't because it just chimed on me. What is going on? All right, let me see what it is saying. Nope, I think it's just chiming at me that I need to get back to work. So anyway, I've got to run. I got a couple things I need to take care of. And then Sky, it says that you are about to start a live stream. So I will take care of what I need to take care of. And then I will hop on over to your channel and we can do some more writing because I'm on a roll this time. So anyway, if you would like to see more of us crazy authors writing, go over to SD. I'm going to slaughter your last name. Is it Hedges? Maybe. I don't know. Sorry. I'm just really bad with people's names. Haggis. Oh, okay. All right. Well, cool. So if you want to see more of us writing, go over to SD Haggis channel. She's over here in the comments. You can click on her face and it'll take you right over there. And yeah, and hopefully we'll do some more of these live streams because they're pretty good. And 3/4 a page. Yeah, I am actually like on a roll. That's why I'm like, holy cow, I've already gotten 798 words written. And that's what, 2 15-minute sprints. So I am on a roll. So I will definitely take care of what I need to take care of. And then I will head on over to your channel and we will do some more writing. Sounds like a plan? So yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Well, yeah. Do all the things. Make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell so you know when we are on here doing our thing. And I will see you soon. Bye.